week. Roll call. Mr. Carr?
Here.
Ms. Jane? Here. Mr. Redmond?
Here.
Ms. Ryan? Present. Mayor Nolan is absent. Okay, before the regular meeting starts, I would like to bring up, we have representatives from A Future with Hope and the Art Project at the Bobby Ridge. Let us know about some of their ongoing efforts. It's okay.
Hello, good evening. My name is Chas Carson with St. Bernard Project. This is Bobby Ridgely, the Executive Director of A Future with Hope, and Kevin McGee, the Community Outreach Manager for St. Bernard Project. A Future with Hope has been here in Highlands since right after Hurricane Sandy, offering help to people to rebuild their homes. St. Bernard Project is a more recent addition to Monmouth County. We came out of New Orleans after Hurricane Katrina, helping people rebuild their houses, and set up operation in Seabright in March of last year. And our organizations are fairly similar. We're helping people who have a gap in their assistance get back home through the use of volunteer labor. We've got a professional construction staff paired with volunteers. Helps cut down on the cost and get people home quickly. We're both pretty proud of the work we've done in Highlands, but it hasn't been enough. A Future with Hope has done a number of jobs. St. Bernard Project has done one. And we've embarked on a canvassing project to make sure that everyone in Highlands has the opportunity to get our services. We've started on a little block of Highlands, which goes from Waterwitch to Seadrift, from Bay Avenue to the Bay, and eventually we're going to cover every impacted address. We're going block by block, door by door, assessing houses that are complete and reaching out to people whose homes aren't yet complete. So we just wanted to make sure that everyone in the community knows about what we're doing, and we make sure that we truly help this community. Anyone who's in need of rebuilding help has the opportunity to do it. We know that we could be doing a whole lot more here. We all know that there are properties that need attention. So if there's anything that the council could do, or that anyone in the community could do to help us find people who need our rebuilding assistance, we'd be deeply appreciative. What would be the best way to disseminate our information?
Do you have any, I mean, you could put some out here tonight. If you had some, but we can also put it in the construction office. It's probably.
Just put it in the construction offices, we can put it on the website, we can put it at Borough Hall. If you want to talk to me, okay, if you have stuff with you tonight, if not, at the meeting that we'll be at next week, or I'll come to your office, okay?
Great.
We'll pick up the physical literature, but there are other various ways we can get it out there, okay? So I'll take care of that, all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Anything to add, Kevin or Bobby?
I do have a question.
All right.
Do you have a website by any chance for people to know of what you're doing in Highlands, and we could possibly publish that on various Facebook pages and blogs that might reach people also? If we could just give them a contact about this canvassing we want to do.
Sure. Bobby's website is the best way to go for this.
Yeah, so we have afuturewithhope.org.
Okay.
And then we also have at 181 Bay Avenue at what used to be the Methodist Church there is also, that's our office down there.
Oh,
so
for
people can come
face-to-face,
in
yeah.
there as well for assistance.
Okay.
And all both organizations provide the overall construction rebuild services, but also funding is available too for folks who have this gap. And these guys are providing stick builds from the brand new home builds, and we're providing modular home builds as well. So for folks who qualify for that assistance. So I think it's just kind of getting the word out and letting people know.
Yes. No, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question, please. The office here in town, Bay Ave, that's not open every day, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Every day there's somebody
Yeah,
there?
there's pretty much someone there every day now. Not always. We have posted hours because someone's definitely there during those hours.
Okay.
But usually there should be somebody there every day. Beginning and the end of the day, sometimes there aren't folks there.
Thank you very much.
Are you drawing a distinction between owner-occupied properties and landlord properties? How are you handling that? That's one of the biggest gaps that's being created within Highlands.
Yeah, I can tell you from St. Bernard Project, we're focused on owner-occupied properties. Landlord-owned properties are a huge issue and something that we want to find a solution to fix. But for now, we're just focusing on owner-occupied.
And we're focusing on, we will do rentals in an owner-occupied rental. So if you've got an upstairs and a downstairs, and one piece is rental and one piece is owner-occupied, we'll work on that. And Tim, and we've been talking to Tim a little bit about, if we could pull together a program that would help landlords. I'm very open, I think we're both open to that, but kind of need to come up with a program that would help folks stay, maybe low-income rentals or, something so that we kind of, so that's something that we've been talking to Tim a little bit about.
Okay, thank you.
I'll get your card.
Volunteers engaged, if you need to versus.
Sure, so you can engage with us at stbernardproject.org. There's an online registration, and Bobby, I assume you have the same
Yeah.
future code.
And a future.
It register in the best way to go. Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Okay, next up, consent agenda. Anybody have any questions or want to pull anything?
I have a question on R1538, R1540, and R1542.
Okay. Anybody else have anything they want to pull or discuss separately?
I just wanna-
Could you say those numbers again, please?
38.
38, okay, thank you.
And 39, the date for that, there's a date that's going to be for an auction. It's going to be Friday, February 22nd. That's for the auction of the sale of approximately 2 months.
Okay. Anybody else want to pull anything out or? Okay, with that being said, can I get a motion to approve everything but 38, 40, and 42?
I will make that motion.
I'll second
By
it.
Ms. Ryan, second by Mr. Redmond. Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yeah.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
R1438.
Okay, this is a resolution authorizing transfer between budget appropriations. Pat, would you
Sure,
like to?
I can talk about that. Municipalities allowed to transfer funds from the municipal budget the last 2 months of the fiscal year or the following 3 months. So this is a transfer that we're requesting to transfer from salaries into operating expenses. Really could have did it by December 31st, we did not. It's permissible to do it now, and it enables us to process a voucher.
Okay. Do you have any questions, Steph?
Yeah, so you're transferring from salaries that are or funding for overtime or whatever, so there was an extra. Why isn't that being returned back to our general coffers of the budget instead of other expenses within the police department?
That's fine. That was a request made by the police department. It was within their own department, so I'm requesting the governing body to transfer it out of salaries into operating expenses, and that's what the request is for.
All right, well then, and I have no problem with it, but I want a better explanation what those other expenses are going to be, because I've been looking at the budget, your reports are great, but there's a lot of other expenses lines without explanations. I would like to see greater details why we're taking that money that could be returned to the coffer,
Yeah.
reduce our operating expenses.
Yes, it wasn't really returned to the coffer, Doug. What it was a planned expenditure to help buy a police car. So what we want to do is not to stress out the 2015 budget. So he had funds left over last year. So we're trying to take care of a problem out of last year's budget, enable him to purchase this police car, and would simply not be an issue we have to address in 2015.
I think that's what I'm asking, like, for maybe in the future, if we do something like that, just that answered my question.
You got it.
It's going for something
That's right.
that's something that we truly need, and not an extra or
Yeah.
extra candy kind of thing. Thank you. I appreciate that explanation.
You got it.
Okay, anybody want to make a motion on R1538?
I'll make a motion.
Offered by Mr.
I'll
Redmond,
second that.
second by Mr. Card. Mr. Card?
Yes.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Okay, next up, R1540, a resolution approving raffle licenses for the Highlands Business Partnership. Mr. Clark?
Carl, I'm gonna put you on the spot. Your explanation of the raffle licensing process was awesome the other day.
Yeah.
So people can have a better understanding, accountability of raffling. Could you explain that, if it's okay? Because I think it's important. There's a lot of people that question me all the time, what's the checks and balances with the raffle licenses? And I have to compliment Carla. She explained it quite well the other day. So I had a better understanding, and I think it would be awesome if the public could get an understanding of it too. Because there's a lot of questions about who checks and balances those 50/50s and those raffles.
Do you have a problem with the resolution, or do you just?
I don't have a problem with the resolution. I meant to talk to her before,
Or do you
which
just
is,
want-
and
All right,
she.
well, why don't we vote on this and then let her sum it up real quick after we go.
Sure, I'm okay with that. And if it's not appropriate, we can do it at the next meeting.
No, I mean, she's
Yeah.
here.
How about doing her report?
Do it, all right, do it under the business
Yeah.
partnership report. Does that
Yeah,
make
and
sense?
I was gonna ask you to do that.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
All right. Can I have a motion for R 1540, resolution approving raffle licenses for the HDP?
Offered by Mr. Card,
I'll second it.
seconded by Ms. Wright. Mr. Card,
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Mr. Redmond,
Yes.
Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
Okay, next up, R 15-42, resolution approving leave of absence. Mr. Clark?
Yeah, I'm okay with the leave of absence. I was hoping the chief, what's our plans to replace this officer? That's-
Chief explained that at the
Isn't
last
it right?
meeting, that we have a dispatcher already in line that's going to take on the hours. Mr. Zito is also committed to filling in whenever possible, so it was based on those two scenarios, there was no issue from our end. But yes, he already had from within the department
Good.
fill in already lined up.
All right, can I get a motion for R 1542, resolution approving leave of absence?
Offered by Mr. Card,
I'll second it.
seconded by Ms. Ryan. Mr. Card,
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Mr. Redmond,
Yes.
Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
Okay. Resolution R 1504,
Carolyn, it was my impression that we were going to be tabling that at this time and going back out to bid for it due to the fact we only received one bidder.
going back out for RFPs.
Yes.
Is that a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Offered by Ms. King,
I'll second it.
seconded by Mr. Card. Mr. Card,
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Mr. Redmond,
Yes.
Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
R 1505, resolution approving municipal services agreement for Hillview Condo Association.
I feel like we should hold it for Carol's meeting.
She-
I see you in your seat. I'm like, oh, we can't approve it when she's not here. But since you're here, I'll make a motion.
Offered by Ms. King,
I'll second it.
seconded by Mr. Redmond. Mr. Card,
Yes.
Ms. King,
Yes.
Mr. Redmond,
Yes.
Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
Congratulations, Carol.
I didn't know you were here.
Resolution R 1531, resolution establishing an additional public comment period. This was a recommendation from Mr. Card.
Yeah, if I can speak to the matter, I just think it's something that the public would like to be able to just comment on the consent agenda or anything they have, so we can have a better understanding where they're thinking, and maybe answer some of the questions the public before we move forward. They must be on what's on the agenda, not anything else out there.
Okay, well, Doug, when you and I met last week, we discussed this, and I still have other questions about how long it will be, will we replace the other? But more than that, I really think that we need to look straight to the mayor, because it's his meeting.
Why do we have to wait for the mayor? It's a fair vote. I mean, and I would say 2 minutes, or just saying the 3-minute rule.
I mean, I would,
I don't.
I'm not against it, you know?
Yeah, I know that, but I don't see why we have to wait for the mayor. I mean,
I would just think it's a courtesy.
It is a courtesy.
It's only 2 weeks. I mean,
it's only a courtesy.
we can
but-
Yeah, as
discuss it at
courtesy,
the next.
exactly, as courtesy. And I think we need to figure out if it's, if it will replace it or it's an addition. I do think that there should be another, or time for people, whether it's additional or not, but the public needs to be able to ask questions about what we're voting on before we vote it.
Yeah, and,
Motion to table.
But I would like to table it.
You guys have a motion?
no, I would like to, just so we can work it out, so then when we talk to Frank between now and then, you get him up to speed, and we can make it a quick one on the next round. Excuse me. I don't want it to restrict the 3 minutes at the end of the meeting. We don't want to tap into that, and I think it's prudent on us to make sure we enforce that it's only on consent. And maybe I would not be opposed to one question or one resolution or consent that the ordinance is asking for, so
Well,
that.
then we need to finalize it and tighten it up, and we can bring it up at the next meeting. I would like to table it. If you don't want to vote, the rest of the people want to do it tonight, that's fine too.
Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
I'll offer the table, for courtesy for Frank to have him here.
So there's no motion to approve, this is a motion to table to the February 4th meeting,
Yes,
correct?
very next meeting.
Offered by Mr. Card,
Yes.
second by Ms. Ryan.
Yes, thank you.
Mr. Park?
Yes.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Resolution R 1532, resolution rescinding R 1422 and appointing an alternate prosecutor, that would be Patrick.
Can I get a motion?
I will offer that motion.
Offered by Ms. Ryan,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Redmond. Mr. Park? You abstain? Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Resolution R 1534, resolution appointing a green team.
Okay, I had discussed, Councilwoman Ryan reached out to me and requested to be the council liaison. I don't have a problem with that. I'd also talked to Tim, I basically looked at the, ordinance that was in place the last time. Obviously, we do need to find some players for the green team. Resident, as the mayor had said, would be Carolyn Leon. There's one resident spot, it would be the mayor, Tara Ryan, Tim Hill. We need to reach back with the school board member, the zoning board, recreation, environmental, recycling, and public works. An HPP representative, Carla, would you serve on that as well? Yes. Okay. Okay, great. So with that being said, I'd like to make a motion to, set the 5 in place that we just spoke of, have the kickoff meeting, check with the other people that were previously on it. I know like environmental, Steve Zalicki, we haven't reached out to him to see if he'd like to serve in that capacity.
And if not, if there turns out to be opening, will people apply
Yeah, I
the
think
way that they have for other committees with that form?
yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So we can start with that and have a
That's fine,
kickoff
let's get
meeting
together.
and then go from there and fill the rest of the spot, if everybody's okay with that.
I am.
Is that a motion, Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Offered by Ms. Kane,
I will second that.
seconded by Ms. Ryan. Mr. Park?
Yes.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Resolution R 1536, resolution awarding professional services for the streetscape project.
That would be me.
I don't like.
I think we're gonna table it.
Table till, we discuss, what we wanna do with, the discussion we had on Monday.
Yeah, so Todd, we're gonna say, Kevin and I and Tim, we had a great meeting the other day, looking at the packages and looking at the proposals. We just want a little bit more time just to absorb, because there's quite a bit in it. What's nice about it is, correct me if I'm wrong, Tim, we can negotiate back on it, so we're trying to figure out how we can get more out of them and not just accept it. And I think by the next meeting, we'll have it summed up. The beautiful thing about it is, as Tim said, this has to be done this year, so it's gonna happen. And it's gonna be, from what I'm reading on the 2 proposals, looks great.
Now, this would also be pushed forward just 2 weeks?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's,
It'll be done.
yeah, because I know times, like Tim said, I mean, you have to spend it this year, and we're gonna get it done.
Okay.
So, Mr. Park, is that a motion to table to the February 4th?
Sure.
Offered by Mr. Park,
I'll second it.
seconded by Mr. Redmond. Mr. Park?
Yes.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Resolution R 1545, resolution approving the Tilt Up project.
Okay, this is a resolution I put on the agenda. We were contacted by a gentleman named Fred Anton. He works for A.H. Harris. He contacted us regarding the fact that his company, what they do is they do dedicated memorials. So he was looking into the possibility of placing one in Highlands. This resolution would basically just say that we're interested in the project so that they don't pass us up and go to another municipality. We are going to start to, we've had a couple of meetings, Tim and myself and Mr. Anton. What I would like to do is to continue working on committee with me for Parks and Recreation. So we could try to find a suitable place that's gonna work, and we will reach out to all the, interested parties when we find an area. But basically, this is the first step in letting them know that we are interested, we don't want to be bypassed, we are showing an interest and passing a resolution.
Is this for one particular memorial or just an open, like, kind of,
It's very open-ended right now, but we
It's a
don't want to.
Sandy memorial.
It's a Sandy memorial.
It's definitely relative.
Empty houses and
I mean, what kind of money are they talking about?
They're gonna come.
We don't have it.
I mean, just because it's greater than you need.
Well, we don't pass it up without knowing. Yeah, I mean,
This is non-binding, this is,
Okay.
this is just showing,
Telling them that we're interested.
you know.
We are not committing to anything, we're not spending any money on it.
Yeah. Okay.
All righty. Can I have a motion for R 1545?
I'll offer for this board. Yeah, I'll offer.
Offered by Mr. Clark,
I'll second, okay. John second.
second by Ms. Kane. Mr. Clark,
Yes.
Ms. Kane,
Yes.
Mr. Redmond,
Yes.
Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
Resolution R 1546, resolution awarding professional engineering services for $2,200.
you may have to finish the third issue,
Oh,
just to let you know.
yeah. Okay. Well, thanks. I can actually sit out there.
No. Well, you can sit
My
up.
wife's here.
No, it's as a property owner, he did.
That's a property.
No, I didn't, no, I said abstain, I didn't say you had to.
okay.
No, I didn't say that, just
Okay,
abstain.
no, all right. I thought I had to leave.
No.
No, you just have to abstain.
I will abstain.
I'm trying to give you the heads up.
I'll make a
Thank
motion on R 1546.
Offered by Ms. Kane,
Second.
second it.
second by Mr. Redmond. Mr. Clark,
Abstain.
Ms. Kane,
Yes.
Mr. Redmond,
Yes.
Ms. Ryan.
Yes.
Okay, that brings us to the HVP 2015
Oh, wait,
budget.
no, no.
Oh, sorry.
We have 37.
What was that number, Ms. Kane?
Form 1747.
Okay. All right, we're gonna go back to the resolution. Yes. Resolution R 1544. Oh, sorry. R 1547. Resolution appointing Jean Cipriani Esquire as special counsel. Whereas the borough is in need of special counsel for a workplace investigation, and whereas Jean Capricino Cipriani has demonstrated experience in this matter, and whereas this appointment is exempt from public bidding as a professional service, now therefore be resolved that the borough plans hereby appoints Jean Cipriani of Gilmore and Monahan as special counsel at a rate of $150 per hour, not to exceed $5,000.
Okay, can I get a motion?
Make a motion.
Offered by Mr. Redmond.
I'll second that.
Second by Ms. Ryan. Mr. Clark?
Abstain.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Now we're on to the HVP budget?
No.
No?
Okay. Introduction and setting of a public hearing date for February 18th.
Okay. This is going to be ordinance 015-4, which will be a new noise ordinance. An ordinance replacing section 3-2 of the Borough Code noise in its entirety. This would be to set a public hearing date for February 18th.
There was a slight change with the deletion of going into a person's house, so that's why we have to make this slight change. Steve Selesky, am I saying his name right?
No, it's Zulecki.
Selecki. He's strongly recommending not doing that because it puts police officers in a bad position, as well as allowing the other people to witness it. So we have to, unfortunately, make a change. So we're moving forward. It's still going to go through. That's about sums it up.
It's just reintroduced now with the change,
Right.
rather than waiting for the previously scheduled
Right.
public hearing to
Right, that's
reintroduce
fine,
it.
no, we
So,
want to
when
have.
that comes, that one will just die.
Want me to motion?
I'll motion.
Some of you and
I'll make
Worked
motion.
on it.
Offered by Mr. Redmond,
I'll second.
second by Mr. Carr. Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
On for introduction, setting up a public hearing, this ordinance 0-14-5, an ordinance accepting various deeds and easements from Madison Capital Partners LLC and Sandy Development LLC for block 101 lots 27.02 and lot 27.03. And this will also be to set a public hearing date for February 18th.
These are routine easements that they're giving us, it's just a second piece. All for.
Offered by Mr. Carr,
I'll second it.
second by Ms. Kane. Mr. Carr?
Yes.
Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
Now we're on to the HPP budget. This was published in the December 19th edition of the Two River Times and may now be open to the public.
Anybody have any questions on the HPP budget?
Kim Scorpio, 315 Next Shore Drive, how does this compare to last year's budget?
So I'll let you sign. She said, how does it compare to last year's budget? Well, no, there is
There's
an
an
increase
increase.
of $10,000.
$10,000.
However, how they are disseminating the fee is different. Everybody's paying a certain percentage rather than blocking up the number, correct? When we had the discussions of how they're being assessed. They're going by percentage.
No, in other words, the $60,000 assessment is divided amongst 108 commercial property owners, and Mr. de Blasio will come up with that figure based on the $60,000 budget that we submitted. And a majority of the owners on the board decided that we would go up a little bit because there's been quite a bit of things going up, cost of, doing business with some of our expenses for the events. So we decided to put a $10,000 increase. Is that a good way to explain it, or do you?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys worked it out, so, everybody voted on it, but I know.
And it's just the commercial property owners that pay the assessment.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, Barbara, IUC 28 Shrewsbury. This may be better asked at one of your regular meetings, but there's been a lot of talk about marketing the town, marketing the businesses. Now, I see you have it in your budget, connected with communication. Do you have a specific third-party marketing group for HPP, or
No,
is this in-house?
Yeah, we do all the press releases in-house. We have a media list of about 80 different forms of media. And, we send out the press releases. And we also do, market with New Jersey State Travel and Tourism, and regionally with the Monmouth County Tourism Council. And they promote, Highlands, and we take advertising in their publications, their annual visit guides and whatnot. And then, of course, our own visitor guide. And then those go out to different trade shows, to Canada. Jeannie DeYoung from the county tourism goes to these various trade shows and takes the Highlands materials with her, and as well as our advertising that's in their guide. We get to post all of our stuff on the state and tourism websites. So it's a lot of cross promotion. New York City and the C Street does e-blast for us for certain events. So it's just a lot of different forms of advertising.
Is any of this going towards any research for what to draw in based on the results of such research, or is it it's basically advertising, networking? And
Advertising the Highlands as a destination.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I'll call for a vote.
That would be resolution R-1544 adopting the 2015 HPP budget.
Okay, I will make a motion to accept the budget.
Offered by Ms. Kane,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. Redmond. Mr. Carr? Ms. Kane?
Yes.
Mr. Redmond?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan?
Yes.
That takes us to committee reports, and we begin with finance.
Okay, I'll get that there. So last week we had two notes, one-year notes that came due, and we rolled them over. We had a $377,000 note at an interest rate of 0.99%. That's less than 1% there. And it had a maturity date of June 16th of 2015. The second note came in at a better rate. We had a $586,000 note at a rate of 0.76, and that matures out till January 15th of 2016. In addition to that, we have our annual debt statement. It's going to list all the bonds outstanding, notes outstanding. That's going to be filed by the statutory deadline of January 31st. Our annual financial statement has a deadline of February 10th. That's going to show all our assets, liabilities, and most importantly, surplus. And that's going to be done by the statutory date there. And we've been having bi-weekly budget meetings, making some progress there, and they're continuing to go pretty well.
Okay, great. I don't see the chief here, but I know he
put something
in
in the,
the box. I don't know if you have anything you want to say, or?
no, I don't know if was it added to the?
It's in the
Yeah.
public document.
It's on the,
Here you go,
Yeah,
okay.
it's in here. Okay. All right.
And that's gonna be done, Doug, we talked about it, quarterly you want it, or you want it monthly?
I know you said you're
So
gonna
we've got
have.
a fire department, the first aid,
Correct.
and, okay, police department. Do you wanna just clarify it?
Whatever's, I thought, so we do soft in the beginning, whatever's easiest for them to get it to us in time, and that way I don't want to overburden, but at the same time, I think if we can accompany the police reports, it would be great. But if it quarterly works best for them, I think, in the beginning, I think we can work with that. And then
Okay. I
just
don't
attach it to
think
the police report.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we just gotta figure out what they're gonna,
Ed, do you have anything for the first aid department today?
Sure, it's easier for us to do it monthly because we have monthly meetings.
Probably.
Okay.
We do a lot of our accounting monthly anyway,
Okay.
so it's easy for us to just generate the monthly percentage. Talking about last month, for us, it was in December, we had 32 calls in December, which is about average touchdown. Nothing of significance that I want to bring up especially. We had two significant events in December and January recently. We had a wrapping party, which is part of our effort for community involvement. It was the first year it went over well to help people who needed help wrapping all their gifts for Christmas. We opened up the first aid building. They came in, we would wrap their stuff for them. We also, last Friday, had a fundraiser that was done at the Chubby Pickle by a band that came in and helped us out a lot. That was very welcome. And I think those are things that we're trying to do for community involvement. We're trying to get more involved in the community well beyond just when a call goes out. The new rig is still about 3 weeks out, we think, and then we have to prep it. When the new ambulance gets here, we will do a community celebration, similar to a fire department let down, because we want, the community came out to help us fund it. We want to get back and show our appreciation when it gets here. And the only other item of note is, for the winter, we have moved our ambulances over to that very, very front section of the old firehouse, where they can be kept much more warm than where they are in the first aid building, since we're not fully restored over there yet.
question, I brought this up when we were housing Seabright's fire trucks in the building. We have proper insurance, and God forbid that building should catch on fire. Not that the fire department's gonna show us put it out, but is our vehicle safe there, insurance-wise?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because I mean, it is an abandoned building, kind of thing, so.
And Tim and the fire department were working closely on
Good.
fixing it up, getting, the appropriate utilities, just enough to keep those safe.
Okay. All right,
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Ed.
Okay, Tim, administration?
Okay, I know we're anxiously waiting more news on the community center, but at the direction of the governing body, the architect has been engaged to complete the design phase in preparation of going out to bid. I caution you by saying that we are still working with FEMA, but we're pushing it and we're not going to wait forever for FEMA at this point. The only cautionary thing is the flood insurance can't be proposed to us that we are going to need to operate that building until we have final design. And likewise, I just want the public to understand too, we could possibly be jeopardizing funds depending upon which route this takes. FEMA will have a say in reimbursement, so we are working with FEMA, but at the direction of the governing body, we're moving forward, and we're just going to have to let this play out at this point. The Borough Hall facility, really have no movement there. The council has discussed internally. When we get to that, there are going to be, I think there's options of rebuild or relocate, and that's about as best we can say right now on that topic. We are meeting with our Sandy recovery consultants. We have Bathgate from the legal side that we engaged, and also Millennium Strategies. Millennium Strategies is particularly assigned to do the community center and Borough Hall facilities only. So we're engaging them, and their fees are reimbursed at 90% as direct administrative costs, and that'll be as an ongoing as needed basis. Department of Public Works, bulk pickup were completed in December. Brush and leaf, they continued through December, even though the zones were, out there. They repeatedly told me that they were going back through zones because folks were putting debris out. So they were trying to keep up with it throughout the big part of December. They continue to do their general rounds, basin cleanouts, and we did have 4 sewer type issues that we had to call in Oswald, and we are tracking the cause and effect of some of that. Building and housing, I have no report from the building and housing at this point, but they will be giving me an annual report in February. One thing we want to note, though, that the grease trap inspection program, the construction office has requested an additional program, software program in regards to the program they already have to help implement and make that program go a lot smoother. Once the program is installed, notifications will be sent out to all commercial establishments that are required to have these inspections done, and they will be reminded that their records and all pertinent information must be kept on file at their establishment, and that will be the responsibility of the construction office through the plumbing inspector. For zoning office, floodplain, they had 10 approvals, 1 flood zone inquiry letter, 7 letters of compliance, and another letter of compliance required. Zoning had 14 approvals, 2 denials, and 1 zoning compliance determination letter. Code enforcement completed 38 inspections in the month of December. 17 of those inspections failed, which is, I think, an unusually high number. 21 COs were issued. They are continuing compiling information on the vacant property list. And just to let everyone know, the group that spoke here earlier is also, we're working closely with Future with Hope too to cross-refer document. It's a moving target still. They had a house on the list that is no longer on the list, and we're doing the same because once the vacant property registration starts, notices will go out to all those vacant property owners if they feel their property is not vacant, which I don't know how they would dispute it. There'll be a process, but there is going to be a registration process that was enacted by the governing body. First aid and fire, as we mentioned, they will be providing reports. On the recreation department, basically December, a lot of activity, but they had the Kids on the Move program still in effect. It'll run now through June, right up here at the elementary school, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday afternoons. That's for school-age children. They also have adult open gym soccer on Wednesday evenings at Henry Hudson. The senior citizen group will also continue to meet monthly, and they're looking for a warm place to meet once again too. So they've been meeting, I think, at the VFW from time to time. December events, they were involved with the tree lighting, holiday helpers program, breakfast with Santa, Kids on the Move holiday program, and I was reminded that the teen nights for middle school and high school will be starting up in January, back up here at Highlands Elementary. Under administration, as mentioned, new RFPs will be sent out for the master plan. Streetscape review is being done, and that will be completed for next meeting. Workforce Development Grant unfortunately ended December 31st, so those funds are no longer available, and the 5 individuals that were assisting us are no longer with us through that program. There is no efforts that can be made. We tried to get extensions, but the national emergency grant that fell under, that was the drop dead deadline that they did adhere to. So we got a lot of good help. Judicial position, just so everyone's aware, unfortunately our municipal judge passed away, and the governing body is in the process and has received responses for filling that position, and we'll continue to work on that. The Fort Hancock 21st Century Organization that I'm also representative of wanted us to let everybody know the proposals are out there for reuse. There are tear sheets over there on the piano bench, if anyone wants to take that information. Response date is, for the RFPs, is April 17th, 2015. And we were asked today, I think the group wants to come and do a small presentation to the public and the governing body at the next council meeting on February 4th, just to give an update and perhaps answer any questions people may have. I received a letter from the Bayshore Regional Watershed Council. They are requesting a rep from Highlands if possible, so I'm going to reach out to the Environmental Commission or a couple other groups internally. I don't think they're looking for 6 people to join up with that group, but I'll pass that along if anyone has an interest. Their meetings are, I think, once a month on a Thursday evening in Keyport, but again, I'll pass that along if anyone's interested. I certainly don't mind attending your meetings, but if anyone out there wants to volunteer, I appreciate that. We did have a meeting with the Army Corps of Engineers, Councilman Redmond, Councilman Card, and myself. We did meet with the Army Corps and had an update on the status of the draft report. Basically, the draft report is scheduled to be completed by the end of 2015. The project is approximately 30% designed at this point based on the input and the gathering of information to date. One thing that and I'll let Mr. Carter and Mr. Redmond, but one thing that the Army Corps made very, very clear, one-on-one sessions with all property owners who will be impacted potentially will take place throughout this process before final design is really completed, because they have to do what they call the real estate analysis. So I can't tell you when that is going to start, but they wanted us to emphasize that those particular sessions will take place, and it's part of the mandatory process that they go through to get to the end result. Based on the discussions we had, I don't think there was anything really earth-shattering update, but they are requesting that if the council is so inclined, they would like support to move this to the completion of at least the design phase, because if we don't, that's not going to be completed and we won't have a document. That doesn't mean if they complete this report that we have to accept the findings. So that's pretty much.
The biggest thing is what they also discussed is that if we just, where they finalize it, they give it to us, we don't have to accept it or we can't accept it.
Right.
But if we don't complete it, they may not come back in 5 years or 6 years or something else happens. They may bypass Highlands. So if we get in trouble with Sandy somewhere in the future and we don't go with what they have as just a plan of what they think that we could use it for, we're dead in the water. So we have to prove that, take a look at it and see what happens, and then move forward, okay? You're looking about 3 years down the road before they have everything lined up about that?
Yeah.
And let's say 3 years?
Yeah, and it's important what they're saying is that decision to do the project, yes or no, is not until after the engineer guys complete their assessment, put it binded, the people that are directly affected on the wall of the property, saying, you're going to get that door knocked. So if people are asking, tell the people that own those properties, please embrace them coming in and talking. Then they can put their project together, and then what Kevin said, at the end of the day, whether we choose to use the project or not, what it does to put us on the radar, if there's another event, we have that on the shelf, that the federal government, the Beltway, is not going to bypass us. They'll keep us on their radar. And then after that, then I believe we, then as a community, have to make a decision and the cost factors and all that. And we would support that at that time. It is scary. There's no doubt in my mind about it. But we should embrace the Corps of Engineer guys to that extent. After that, then we as a community have to make a decision.
Everybody, there is gonna be meetings set up, we said in May or June,
Yeah.
and then August and September.
But
Okay.
public meetings
Public
that
meeting.
everybody can
Public,
attend.
yeah.
Public meetings, yes, you'll be up there, they're gonna discuss everything, so you'll be able to view it, see what it's about, and then, put what you think maybe would work better, okay? They're open-minded, but they just wanna show what we have to offer, to us, okay, what they're gonna give us, and then we can take from there.
And lastly, I just want to follow up with more FEMA preliminary flood insurance rate map, Monmouth County open house session.
Are you sure you want it there?
Okay. And this, well, I want people to understand that this is part of the process for the maps to be formally and officially adopted. So here's an opportunity, and it's not just for Highlands, but we solicited and lobbied to have the meeting in Highlands. It's open to the public. It's tentatively set, and the reason why I say that is because they're having discussions about who's really going to be the lead here, for February 20th, which is a Friday, at Henry Hudson Regional from 4 to 8 p.m. And so you understand, you don't have to go from 4 to 8 p.m. It's going to be sort of a round table where you come in with your information, you know your property, you'll get some guidance, they'll show you, probably with laptops and computers, and then you can go to the next station where they may have some flood insurance reps, God bless them, and have a target on. But the idea is to have the public engaged on your particular property. Okay, so if you're interested in the impacts on your property, it's really not an open session to have an open season, and it's part of the process of moving this towards what we all know is we need, as a community, and all the communities, we need these maps adopted. And this is the start of that process. Unfortunately, it's probably going to take a full year because any indications or discussions or unpleasantness about the map, they have to answer each and every one of those responses. So if people do get into that system eventually and they want to dispute the findings, FEMA has to respond to each and every individual, not just in Highlands, but everyone that's been impacted. So we're glad to be able to host that. I'll make sure that we do have the request in the high school for the use, and FEMA's committed to that day. It's just the county and everybody's talking about who's going to be the lead agency. And that's it.
Okay. Library?
There's nothing to talk about the library, thank you.
All right, Highlands Business Partnership. Carlin, you want to start with the raffle procedure?
Yeah, that actually worked out.
Oh, well, then you can do that instead.
So basically, the rules are governed by the Legalized Games Control Commission. And every charitable organization, 501c3, that's eligible to apply for a license has to renew their charity's registration every 2 years. It's a biennial renewal. There's a fee, I think it's $150. And you send that in to the Legalized Games a chance. And then for each type of raffle, whether it's 50-50 off-premise, meaning you can sell the tickets, anywhere up to, a specific event. Like, for example, the Lucky Pot of Gold, you can buy them now. They're not going to be called off till after the parade. That's called an off-premise raffle. There's an on-premise raffle, which is a 50-50, which is the roll of tickets where you rip half off, like we do at some of the events. Then there's bingo raffles, casino night, all different kinds. So depending on what you apply for, you fill out the application, and it's their application, the state Legalized Games. You fill out the application in 4 parts. You get it notarized. It has to be members of the organization that are running the games have to sign it. You submit it to the borough clerk, who gets it approved by the governing body, and then assigns it a raffle number, correct?
Yes, then I submitted a findings and determination to the state, and then I have to wait 14 days from the date that I send it to the state before I can actually issue the license.
And if there granted the license, they send you the raffle license, you have up to 45 days to submit how many tickets you sold. You have to keep track, again, depending on what kind, if it was, tricky tray or 50, you have to keep track of your starting numbers, your ending numbers, any games you're playing, the games at the Clam Fest with the novelty prizes. You have to do inventory, you keep track of all of that, and you report it, how many tickets you sold, what the cost of the ticket was, how much did the equipment cost, how much was it to rent the game trailer. They have tons of questions. All of their reports are available online, and you submit it. And if you do not submit a report for that particular raffle, then they won't issue you the next time you go to apply for a raffle. They're going to say, no, you're denied because you didn't submit what you made. It's $20 per game to get a raffle, and then the off-premise tickets, you actually have to send them a copy of the ticket that's printed at the printer. You have to submit that with your raffle report. The other thing that we do for extra precautionary measures, because there are questions or negative perception, is what we do, we put this in place many years ago, is, okay, we draw the winner, and if they're winning $1,500 from the King of the Clam, they have to, come. We make them sign, I so-and-so receive this amount of money. We check their identification, make sure they're the person that we call, and we have them sign a paper. We're not required to do that, but we just do that just in case. So in case, they said, oh, we didn't get, $1,200, we don't, if we reported that we took in $3,000 and $1,500 went to the winner, but they're saying, oh, we only got 12. So we make them sign for exactly how much money they're getting, so that we have that in our records. And again, that's not required, but we do that just for our own protection. And then the raffle report, we have to also file a copy with the clerk. So every report and the reports also have to be notarized. Everything has to be notarized. We always bug Carol. So when they're notarized, we file a copy with the borough clerk. So they're also kept on file at borough. But if anyone has a question about it, I think that's really...
Appreciate that.
Yeah. And then just real quick, our event calendar was approved, and I brought some, but Sunday is our beef and brew, where the grand marshals are presented their sash. It's $25. It's out off the hook. It includes appetizers, buffet, beer and wine, and some dessert. And the grand marshals for this year are Dan Shields and Robbie Higgins of Windy City. So everybody comes out and supports the event. Of course, all of the St. Patrick's Day fundraisers obviously pay the piper, so we look for everybody to come out and support the parade. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marla.
Thank you, Carl.
Under shared service, Tim and I just had a little discussion. Frank and I are usually the shared service committee. I know we're going to set up a meeting with Atlantic just because they wanted to discuss a little bit of the municipal judge. If they're housed in the same building, there's potential for a cost savings if we do pick the same one. So it's worth having those discussions, and Tim is going to set up a meeting for myself, Frank, Adam, and Tim to have those discussions. And then we'll bring it back to the table. Okay. Other business? Borough engineer status report?
Okay, start with the overall drainage project. Council chose the electrical pump option for the Sun Harbor pump station. So based on that, should be an authorization next meeting to finalize everything, complete it, get it out to bid. The intent is to go to construction obviously this year. The start date will vary depending on whether we're successful with the grant that was submitted, or if we have to fall back on the EIT loan. The EIT loan will take longer because they require a longer window before you can advertise. So that will be in construction at some point this year. It's a matter of when, depending on what kind of funding, what kind of response we get out of the grants. The North Street Pump Station, again, that'll be another one for the next meeting. We'll complete that. Construction is also anticipated to start this year, and hopefully complete by the end of the year. I want to fast track that, get that, the old station out, get the new one in. The Bay Street retaining wall, we had a pre-construction meeting today. If all goes well and the mayor signs the contracts, we can look at test pits most likely next week to check for conflicts, make sure we're okay with the services going into the affected house. Once all that gets done, it'll be a couple weeks to order the form liners, and contractor's hoping to get into do the work late February, early March. Be that a 2-week process. Obviously, all property owners will be notified because the road will be closed during the day when they're working because of the narrowness of the road. So there will be provisions made to get back and forth to the houses. Also, we were talking about adding some curbing to this contract. Tim, if you want to speak further about that.
Yeah, we've had discussions with regards to the curbing, particularly along, I'll say, the water side or the east side of the road, due to some curbing issues up there. And if we can, we would probably like to investigate if funds allow to have that curbing done. It'd be very difficult to curb both sides of that road because of the parking situation. And we're not totally re-engineering the road, so, but we have had discussions with the residents up there throughout this process of the retaining wall. So I would like to see if we can investigate that a little further.
All right, that was discussed with the contractor to pre-con today. He's on board with it, obviously. So we'll give him parameters. It's still, it most likely won't be a full height curb because you still need some parking on one side, so maybe something you could roll up and straddle. But there'll be some provisions in there to keep the water, channel the water from going onto those properties. Also, the DBIS pipe, waterways London drainage pipe project. As you recall, we did change gears on design. We're anticipating to save between $400,000 and $500,000 in cost by changing the design around to eliminate some of the pipe that's running down Waterwitch towards Bay. Also, we're going to add the failed pipe, the corrugated metal pipe that's failed at the corner of Waterwitch and Shore that goes through the park and over to Jones Creek. So we'll replace that pipe as part of this project. There'll be plenty of money left in the contract to do that. That design is nearing completion, so we'll be looking to advertise this project early spring and get to construction, late spring, early summer, and knock that project out. Also, there was a little project that's been out there, the Community Center ADA Walkway. Tim's got the preliminary project documents. Once he gives his blessing, says he's okay with the product, we'll complete that and we'll roll it out in the street as well. Just a reminder, we do have a deadline on Shore Drive this year for July to award a contract. There are a series of projects I've been talking to Mr. de Blasio about. There's 3 of them out there that have grant money attached to them. It's the Shore Drive Phase 2, resurfacing from Waterwitch to Locust. It's Shrewsbury Avenue from Bay to Miller, and it's the North Street pipe into the pump station. There's about $590,000 in grant money that's attached to those 3 projects. Price tags in the range of $1.3 million, hard and soft costs. But that's something that we're going to need to move forward on, so we don't forfeit the money. And plus, it's projects that really need to be completed. So it's going to be an active year in Highlands this year, construction-wise, more so than just housing. It's going to be a lot of the borough infrastructure is finally going to be dealt with, and we'll hopefully be on our way to recovery even more. Besides that, that's pretty much all I have.
Next up, CTW team, Community Teamwork. This is something that I put on the agenda. It's a group that comes in yearly that does a betterment project in our town. Primarily, we've done consistently cleanups at Conclusion Field. It's coordinated with myself, Tim Hill, the DPW, and a resident of Seadrift Avenue. The resident basically coordinates all of this for us. The costs are taken care of by the CTW Community Team Group, and a date's been set for May. I just put it on the agenda because Tim and I need to give them a final proposal of costs for the project that we're going to be doing by the 30th.
And generally, they allocate up to about $1,000, so
Yeah.
it's not a,
It's not a huge project,
not a
but it
huge
makes a
project.
difference.
So last year, they did some planning, and they also have a volunteer group from within their workforce. And that's really what it's all about. It's a day of giving from the work, the Goldman Sachs Center?
Yeah.
So it's been a really good, cooperative effort, and they've been energized the last couple of years that they've come here, and they've seen some great things happen, so they want to continue. So that's where we're at.
I'm gonna go over Army Corps of Engineer update, because I think you
Yeah, I
covered
think
that.
I did that already. Sorry, I forgot that it was on other business.
Okay, and then council liaison for engineering.
That's, I'm part of the code enforcement and building. I'm gonna take the engineering part of it over too and work with TMN on all the projects. So I just added that for tonight.
Basically, you'll have weekly meetings with Dale, and any
Right.
concerns we have, we can bother you.
Yes,
So that would go with the building department, which you go over already.
right. It's just an addition of engineering, so it's all looked into one.
Well, it makes sense that instead of having 5 of us call Dale for 2 hours, have one of us call Dale.
Well, since he's aware of that.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. I'm okay with that. Second, or?
When you close it, when you close it.
No, I know.
With this, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Do we need to,
I'm
we
just
don't have to
asking
do
if
anything
everything's
official.
okay.
We're happy about it.
Okay. All right, Tara has 2 announcements. before the
Okay,
public
in
hearing.
general, and not specific to the council. One, there is another REN rollout. It says that it's for lower and middle income families and applicants. I interpret it a different way. I encourage anyone who has not yet applied for the REM, or if you know somebody who needs to apply for the REM, you can go on to .gov or Renew Jersey, or you can contact me. This closes on March 4th. So if you know anybody who still might be interested, please encourage them. And also, the affordable health care is still open, enrollment until February 15th. And that means that anybody can make an application to apply, and many people are finding out that they are getting tax credits for this, so it's not that expensive. Some people are not even paying for it. Again, you can go online and find out. If you really have a problem finding out, give me a call. I'll help you out, okay? And please tell anybody that you know if they need help to let me know. Thank you. Thank you, Rebecca.
Hey, Tim, the Captain's Cove, you gave me a great report, just so everybody has an understanding, because I know it's been a hot issue.
Yeah, Captain's Cove, of course, we're still ongoing with the property owner. The property owner did request that the pilings that are there, he was adamant that he was going to be reusing. It's the borough's position that he doesn't have anything really pending. I'm going to be meeting with the contractor, and we're going to revise the scope of work, because he did a lot of work down there. There was a lot of things initially listed in that scope that are now out of the scope of work. So we're going to be meeting on site, and I would say, weather permitting, within the next 10 days, like it or not, we're going to be down there removing the items that we've identified that we still feel is a hazard. He did ask if the council would consider if we shrunk wrap the pilings and the lumber that was there, and that was a request that came through me, and I kind of said, I don't think that's the intent. He contends that the pilings have value and that they are usable on a marina-type project, and he is also supposed to be finishing other work that he hasn't attempted. So we're going to take the necessary steps and move forward.
It's been, before the end of the year, he's made very clear, no quarter to the guy, and he seems to be getting away with it. I know you're in a difficult situation.
No,
Chief,
we're following up, and again, based on the reports that he was going before the board, that was fictitious, so that's another, issue that I had to put out, which, it's long overdue. So, again, the scope of the project does have to be revised, but to our betterment, we'll be spending hopefully less money.
Just so clear, pilings will be removed.
Yeah.
Okay. He doesn't like it, tell him to take no lumps.
Okay. Jim Bemis, Twin Lake Condo?
Yeah, about 2-3 months ago, we talked about parking on Portland Road. I was assured it would be looked at. I would hear back. I've heard nothing.
We have introduced, yeah, and I don't know off the top of my head, but yeah, we looked at it, and it has been introduced that we're going to be doing away with majority of parking. And I wish I had something right here in front of me, because I know we discussed it here at the table.
We could.
So I'll get you,
Do you want to reach back to Mr. Bemis tomorrow and look up the resolution, because I thought we discussed something, I just can't remember.
Yeah, I don't know.
Has the ordinance been prepared?
I believe it
The
has.
ordinance is prepared, I don't know if it was introduced, check with the chief.
Yeah, because I think there was something
Something to do with it.
there was some discussion about portions of either being safe for parking or not. But it's well underway, and yes, it has been, I know, vetted out to a large degree. I'll check with Chief tomorrow, and we'll give you a call. Are there any concerns that you have directly, or?
Well, just that, we continue to see people park on both sides, and if they had to get a fire truck up, it could be a challenge.
Okay. But just so you know, and we did research it, that there was never anything on file originally, even though there may have been signs put up.
Somebody must have trimmed the tree, because there's one sign now that's clearly visible.
Right, no, but you said that at one time, that there were
Yeah.
signs up. But
There's 2 signs
the signs
now.
really don't validate,
No.
unless the ordinance is
I mean,
enacted.
somebody drilled a hole in the concrete, it wasn't just like Joe Blow put the sign up.
Right.
Somebody drilled a hole in the concrete to do it.
But if it's not, as you understand, if it's not done by
There's no
ordinance.
paperwork behind it, it's difficult to enforce.
But yeah, I know we're well underway with it.
Okay, well, we can reach back to Mr. Bemis and give him an update after we talk to the chief.
Thank you.
Okay. Claudette, 12 Seadrift?
Claudette Dorigo, 12 Cedar. This is just for Tim. I know it's early, but I want to address it because it's been brought out on social media sites, as most recently as today. Guarding on the beaches, staffing of the beaches. I know they weren't staffed adequately last summer. Can we do something about increasing maybe the pay for the guards to get more guards? Or if we can't, can we take down the free beach signs that are advertised on 36? Because that's a huge liability for us if the guards are not, if the beaches aren't guarded.
Well, I can say this, we're hoping to have guards. No, last year we didn't have any guards, so we weren't understaffed. If social media is saying we were understaffed, that's not accurate.
There was no staffing, correct?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, but as far as a liability, you can have a free beach, and there's many up and down the coast of the United States.
Right. But there has to be adequate signs. They can't swim on those beaches. Or at their own risk.
You don't, and correct me if I'm wrong, we've been told from the insurance end, you do not put swim at your own risk, because then you're encouraging people to swim as well. It really is a catch-22. Now, believe it or not, when the South Bay Avenue beach, when we stopped guarding there because of issues years ago, we were recommending to at least still put the ropes out, and our insurance company said absolutely not. You put the ropes out, you're defining a swimming area, and you're telling people it's okay to swim there. So I agree with what you're saying. If we don't get guards, but your comment about taking the free beach signs out, I mean, that's something we could talk about, but you're not going to be able to stop people from going and visiting the waterfront.
I agree, but I don't think we should encourage with the sign on the street when Sandy Hook is full to come down to our free beach if we're not staffed. I mean, we've had drownings on the river on the other side, on the Sandy Hook side. You know,
I don't disagree with you, but we know at the end of every street in the Highlands towards the water, there's a potential, whether it be public or private property, and we really do hope and encourage that we're all doing the right thing in terms of water and aquatic safety. However, that being said, we're hoping to have guards, and if we have it, excuse me? So we did, I don't remember off the top of my head, but I know when we didn't get guards, we did make a suggestion to increase the rate.
16 and an 8 supervisor charge and a lifeguard charge.
Right, there was a supervisor fee, because again, we were lucky for 10 years we had the same supervisor return, so that was a bargain even at that. But, yeah, the council did increase the hourly rate even for the guards themselves, and we still didn't get
Maybe
any.
we can advertise earlier. I mean, I'm just,
I was
I
gonna
know
make a-
Scott and I both have a serious concern.
I was gonna make a suggestion too with Tara, with the education committee,
Mhm.
perhaps getting into the high school
Done.
and talking to maybe, the gym teachers and the
Okay.
teachers up there, see if there's kids that have an interest.
I'll talk to Dr.
So they
We-
know.
We've, and just so you know, the area, with the exception of the ocean fronts, have seen a decline. Even Middletown Township actually reached out to us last year begging for guards because they didn't open their beaches along the Bay Shore area as well. To say they didn't open, they didn't guard them.
Right.
So there is a shortage, and we do know it is a lot of responsibility. I think years ago it was a little bit different, but the costs involved to get the training and to do what you need to do, kids are opting other areas.
Perhaps our first aid could run the first aid portion and the CPR for the kids in the school.
Well, no, the first, maybe it depends upon the level, but there's certain
Yeah,
levels
but
that
you
they have to have,
that
not
for
just
guards,
basic first aid.
Right.
And
You
the
know,
C-
basic, whatever. The guards need CPR. You can't guard without CPR.
Right, but in terms of the level that they need, there's different levels for waterfront. There's a whole waterfront aquatics.
So we can all kind of work.
Sure.
I mean, because we are a waterfront town.
I don't disagree, and last year was the first time, and I've been involved 34 years, first time that we didn't have guards.
We didn't have any
Okay.
guards. Thank you. There was an argument on social media today.
I'm
Okay.
sorry about social
No,
media.
I'm
That's all right.
agreeing with you.
Chris Francie, 36 Fifth Street? Pass.
What?
That's not
Uh-oh,
nice.
Carol got her agreement and Chris is passing, oh my goodness.
I was going to say we acted precipitously on Carol's agreement, but I figured it was.
Okay, well, I'm not gonna let you start now, Kim Skorka, 350 Shore Drive.
Kim Skorka, 315 F Shore Drive. I'm very upset at the changes to 015-4. By taking out music which is plainly audible inside a complainer's property with all windows and doors closed, that's my problem. I don't have a problem talking to somebody at the end of my driveway. And as you can tell, I speak loud. If the music is loud, I don't have to raise my voice. But someone like Tara, who might be a little more soft-spoken, she would have to raise her voice. So now it's even more subjective to the police officers because they're going to be like, oh, I don't need to raise my voice to talk over this music. But meanwhile, I might be standing next to him and not being able to hear him and be like, well, I can't hear you. So I don't know what this does, and I'm really upset that nobody talks to me about this.
And actually,
No, I'm not done.
hesitate.
I'm not done.
First, you're wrong.
I'm not done.
Wrong.
Alright,
Throughout this entire process, you've spoken to the businesses countless times. You've made changes to this. You presented it, and I appreciate being able to read this. But come on, when is somebody going to say, hey, Steve wants to meet with you, let him come into your house. You know what, when Havana reopens, let him come by one night and see just how loud it is. Because this, frankly, doesn't do squat. And now we're back to square one.
Actually, you're wrong, because according to Steve, by having it at the property level, it's actually going to allow officers to enforce the summonses quicker and easier without even having to go into your house.
How? When they decide they
Again?
they don't need to raise their voice to be heard over the music?
That's the whole point. If they hear even easier at the property, your property line, it's going to be obviously protecting your house even better. So being closer to the property line, according to Steve, who is the sound expert, and I will make arrangements for you to meet with him and discuss it. I'm not going to try to interpret his knowledge, but he's informing us that by doing it that way, it's going to allow, this is the key, because it hasn't been done by our chief, who made it upon himself not to enforce the last ordinance, to allow him to write the summonses so people like Havanas and habitual noisemakers are forced to go to the courtroom. And then it's going to allow this governing body to attach damages or restrictions on their liquor license. So I think you need to give fair opportunity to what we're putting forth here and the training that we're going to put to the police department.
What this
And I'll
does
make
is it
arrangements.
brings Rita to my property line going, I don't have to raise my voice, and me standing there on the other side of the police officers going, yes, you do. That's exactly what this ordinance does. Because it says, it's going to help the business owners hear the problem. What's stopping them from being like, I don't hear a problem?
That's good. Again, listen, I'm telling you now, I'll set the meeting up with you and Steve and myself, and you'll be comfortable with the way he and the way the officers are gonna be trained. We were talking about the training today. So you'll be satisfied with the results. I'm confident.
I don't buy it.
Okay. Well, are you willing to meet with Steve and I? And
Yes.
we'll make that happen?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'll make that happen.
Thank you.
All right, Carla Sefalo, 62 Bradley Point Road.
I was gonna pass, but I wanna ask a question just about the streets. I just wanna make sure, like, the work, is it gonna be like in the height of the summer season? Since it, I mean,
Carla, it was known from the beginning that it might be
I know, but.
time. I understand your,
Like postponing, we're gonna be like.
I'll tell you, no, that's not postponing it to that level. We have to spend and have the project done by 2015. That was known, so that has never changed.
No, I know, by December.
There's
but
also
I'm
three
saying it
sections
would've
of
been
it
good
that
if we could've,
have to be
you know,
done.
winter, I'm sorry,
There's 3 sections that have to be done.
I know.
Okay, they gave us what they wanted to do, and we have to get it all done. Doug and I was looking at it and said, hey, it looks great. There's a lot of stuff that's in it that can help the town. You know, by the 4th, we hope the bid goes out as soon as we can, and hopefully they start at the end of March, doing what they have to do and everything's done, but
There may
we
be,
can't promise you.
Yeah, and we're aware of blackout dates. We may, because again, being sensitive to the Clam Festival or any other event in town, we're there, and that's like Kevin said, there are 3 zones. So we're gonna make sure we're on that, being sensitive. But, like Dale said, this coming summertime, let alone the houses being built and renovated, there's gonna be a lot of construction everywhere.
and if
Everybody's
you
gonna
put,
be.
you have to be cautious too. If you put too many restrictions in on a contract like that, your cost goes up significantly.
But we're
So we've gotta
Well,
be able
I
to.
just wanna make sure that we're thinking, you know, ahead.
Yeah, I
We're
believe
thinking
blackout
about
dates,
it.
we're aware of that.
Are you good?
They can only build on Saturdays.
Okay. Melissa Pedersen, 17 Bay Street.
On this streetscape, I know you said there was 3 zones. I'm not exactly sure what that entails. Is that going to include fixing a lot of the sidewalks?
All sidewalks, you wanna talk about it?
You want me to?
Yeah, go ahead. It's involved, because there's a lot of it.
Yeah, so basically, Melissa, it'll be sidewalks to the storefronts, with some patterned concrete, like stamped concrete, colored, light posts, large planters, benches. We're gonna be redoing the crosswalks across Bay Avenue, you know, where the old pavers are all sunken in and all chewed up and everything else. And the 3 sections, you have 2. Bay Avenue itself has 2 business sections. You have a break in between for the residential. So there's 2, and the third part being over by Huddy Park, the Waterwitch. I'll call it the Waterwitch corridor. So it'll be a challenge to get this to. Obviously, we don't want to impact the businesses, you know, any more than necessary. All right, sure, graphics we can leave closed for the summer. It's okay, but everything else, we have to work around. So basically, what our intent is to be cognizant of the Clam Fest, be cognizant of town events you have. You know, to contractor works a normal day. So at the end of the day, have it cleaned up and have the businesses accessible for the light crowd, for the dinner crowd. You know, so it's going to be a challenge, but like Tim said, the money's got to be spent this year. So it's going to be a quick design, quick out to construction. And if we can get out to construction and get them started, say April, a lot of this work could be done before the height of the season. And that's going to be the intent. You know, the large is probably going to be the electrical for the poles, but a lot of the concrete work itself could possibly be done before that height of that summer season. And get people moving on.
Okay, and so those 3 zones, it's the business section. So there's sidewalks that are broken in between that in what's considered the residential. That's not included, correct?
It wouldn't be included under this grant.
We've applied for an additional grant to hopefully fill that gap, but we haven't heard officially that we haven't received that fund. But the specific money through the EDA was specifically for those areas. We didn't get.
Just because I've seen driving down Bay Avenue, I saw somebody that was probably 20 years older than me that took a face plant walking down Bay Avenue, and I've talked to other people. If you're walking and it's so uneven and you don't walk properly, it's really easy for someone to twist an ankle, fall down, and then it's a matter of time before somebody just, you know, the 3rd time they do it, they're just going to sue.
Absolutely. So plus you want the uniform look as well. you know, you want it to be safe, number one. Number two, you want the uniform work. You don't want a good clean section all of a sudden, then you're back to where you were, and another good section back to where you were. You want that continuous. So that's where Tim was saying that another grant is out there that we applied for, just trying to fill those gaps, so to speak.
Then my second question on Millennium, on the grant writers. Did I understand you correctly that they're only looking for grants for the community center in town hall, or that's what they're gonna be doing in 2015?
That was a special, we're going out for an RFP for grant writing, okay? They've been hired, engaged to do specifically follow-up work for the community center and the borough hall. That's not just writing, that's going after the FEMA processes. The RFP for grant writing is going to go out on the street again, and there's nothing saying that Millennium will be the successful.
Do we have any feedback from them on why they haven't been successful in 2014? Were they unable to find it? Were we not able to qualify? Were we not able to get in?
I think one of the biggest things is, and I don't think post Sandy it's been any better. The money has been a lot more competitive than ever. They've applied for lots. I can get you at the next meeting, since they're not engaged with us right now, I can get you a full report of all the grants that they applied for. And they do get feedback that, you know, unfortunately, funding is very, very competitive. So my recommendations to the council, though, is that we still need to move forward.
Okay. Barbara Iannucci, 28 Shrewsbury Avenue.
No, everyone covered everything I was thinking of.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. And Carol Bucko, 330 Shore Drive.
Okay, I have two things. You know, you made that one-way street on Valley, which I agree is a very dangerous area. But, you know, you really should have thought it through, because now you created another serious situation with the OLPH parking lot. It has now become the U-turn for Miller Street. And somebody's going to get hurt because they tear through there like there's no tomorrow. So, you know, you might want to rethink that one-way street. Put up barriers around their house or whatever. But, you know, it's just a matter of convenience. They didn't go that fast because they had to go right and left, and, you know. But now they just enter the parking lot and go right across.
Carol, I just want to let you know that at the last council meeting, the mayor asked me and Jerry to conduct a survey and talk to everybody up there and see what they think and, you know, what experience they're having. I do now think that we acted too hastily. There are the metal poles in front of the house in question, and maybe that will be reinforced, and we'll see what's going on. But we are revisiting the situation.
Oh, that's good. Thank you. Now, what about your trailer rentals down there? Are they still being paid by FEMA?
Through the end of this year, at 90%.
Because, you know, we have a perfectly good building up on the hill. It has 8 classrooms in it. Very easily used for an office. And, you know, and if anybody's going to bring up church and state, that's just a big no-no. Because it's not a church and state issue. This Constitution simply says that the state shall not interfere with churches. It doesn't say that you can't use their property or rent their property or whatever. But, you know, I think that you ought to consider that. You know, you got a whole year, I guess.
Well, I can say this in the governing body. The diocese has been in touch with us about a couple different items up there. Rent initially was not on the table from their side. They really weren't interested in renting. They're basically looking to probably put a portion or so up on the market, but we don't know what the market would bear. Also the building, again, to rent, to move from one situation to another rental, I don't think really, like you said, we don't have that much time. I don't think December next year that's going to come quick. But the council has been in discussion with the diocese on a very general level, but they haven't come forward with official proposal on a sale or anything like that.
Well, if you're going to rebuild the borough, I would suggest you probably have to raise it. So please put an elevator in the plans.
All right, all set, motion to adjourn?
Thank you.
Thank you.
They're not gonna drop it, so we have to re-engage, there's a lot of negotiations. Yeah, no, it is, and it's in there. It's like welfare. It's like, it's over here about 280,000 letter I don't believe it.